Alright, welcome back. This is part 3 of the Neopets the Darkest Faerie speedrun tutorial series. If you haven't seen the other videos, please make sure that you start with part 1, otherwise what you're about to see won't make too much sense. In the previous video, we covered getting to Kagam early and getting the Cloak of Heroes, which we just picked up. And we left off by mentioning this, but I'll just remind y'all one more time that if you want to pick up like extra health consumables for later in the run, then you'll respawn right next to this shop with like the ice cream cone, or like ice cream bowl, I guess. That's the best way I can figured to name it. And you can get some health consumables here. I would recommend the red juppies because they're a bit more efficient in terms of time save, I suppose. You get a couple of less extra text boxes that way. So, just wanted to remind you all about that before we made our way. So, on our way out, we're going to make our way out of Kagam now. And we're going to go make our way to Illusen's Glade. That's going to be the objective of this video, is getting through Illusen's Glade so we can make our way to the end of Act 1. So, go ahead, make sure your speed potion is equipped. You may have some charge of it still left already. I'm gonna keep it off for right now, because normally when you're doing a full run, you'll have a little bit of Mirka speed potion charge left over from the previous part of the series. And you do, for this next bit, this part is optional, but I do want to show you how to do it, because it's kind of cool. But for this next bit, you want to make sure that you do not have a potion of Mirka speed equipped. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. There is a bit of a dialogue-based cutscene here that this guy's like, hey, you're not supposed to be here, go away, kid. And if you don't want to learn this strat, which is probably for better, it only saves a couple of seconds, then what I would do is just open up the consumables menu and then hold square, and then just walk across the bridge, and that will at least let you skip some of the dialogue boxes. But what I want to do is I'm actually going to back away from this a little bit so I can show you in a bit more of an enclosed area a trick that we can do to bypass having to talk to him, which is called a mega jump. So I'm going to go, this requires the use of the cloak that we just picked up right here. And so let's talk about how the cloak works. So when you equip the cloak, you cannot use your weapon, right? If you attempt to use your weapon, it'll go into this big flash, the game will lag, and then it'll put you back into normal Tor's normal model, right? So when you swap between these two models, it causes the game to lag. And the lag is going to be an important part of how this trick works. So I'm going to show you in full motion what this trick is, and then we're going to break it down piece by piece, okay? That is a mega jump, okay? And if we use that, we can actually sail straight over the guy's head and skip the cutscene trigger for that. Alright, so now how does that exactly work? So, go into the cloak and we decloak, okay? So that causes a ton of lag so that we can buffer a jump. So, we attack and then we hit jump and select at the same time, okay? We hold those down as the screen fades to white and the game lags. So because of the lag, it will cause the jump and the select input to happen on the next frame. So you can kind of already see, you can't see too well with this angle, but Tor has already kind of started to jump. And so what we do here is once we've gotten this first jump, we press triangle to get rid of the menu, and then hold X, which will buffer a second jump. Okay, so like that, okay? So the window for buffering that second jump is a little bit tighter than the buffer that we did when we did the river walk. So watch my hand cam, or my controller cam, to get a better idea of the timing. So essentially, I angle myself, I don't hold down L2. You can if you want, it doesn't really matter. But I tend to just keep it held down most of the time anyway, so it really shouldn't change much. So yeah, so make sure you hold the run button down as well, by the way, so that you get more distance. So you hit circle to uncloak, and then hold down, select an X as the screen fades to white. Like that. Okay, so you can see him start to move and jump. and then you close the triangle menu and press X. Like that. Okay. And so what you can do with that is if you face towards the bridge and stand roughly about this far in front of it, you can get even closer if you want to. But this distance is fine because mega jumps tend to send you pretty far. You open up the cloak and you just do a mega jump in front of here. So we'll do it again. So circle forward, select an X. Believe I hit select an X too early, but I'm gonna go back so I can show you how to do this. Was the pressure? I might not be able to get the height that I need to go back, but you get the idea, right? So you can make a jump back over this guy. Oh, you can go all the way up here, I suppose. Like that. And so you can actually use that as a way to get into Kagam early. Well, I mean, we have the cloak, so not really. But we use that. We can do that in the opposite direction in order to get over that line of dialogue. It's like, I should go back to Mira, though. So here's another example of it in full speed. I'll move my controller so you can actually see what I'm doing. That looks good. Perfect. So you basically just jump over a cutscene trigger in the middle of the bridge, and you're good to go. Now, once you've done that, just turn right around and go straight into the water. That'll put us back at the respawn point that we did the water walk at. And then you can just jump up here and start another speed potion, and you're good to go. Now, again, I'm happy to go over some of the movement stuff in a short little clip video. But essentially what I'm doing is I'm holding down L2 whenever I go off a ledge in order to ensure that Tor doesn't auto-hop, because when you jump, you're always moving at a set speed regardless of whatever modifiers that you have on. So if you have a Miracle Speed Potion and you jump, then you will lose time. So holding down L2 whenever I have the Speed Potion on especially. Alright, so we fall into the water, and then facing the arena we head to the left. And then I like to pop another Speed Potion here, especially I have a lot extra. And then we're going to make our way up this hill, and we're going to start making our way to Illusen's Glade. From here, if you accidentally are low on potions for whatever reason, skip this water warp and just go down the hill the rest of the way. But I would fall into the water here, which puts you right into here. Now, before we continue and before we hit the next, I'm actually not going to potion of speed here, just so we can go through this a bit slower, because this next part is not tricky, but requires explanation, so I want to slow it down. Make sure that you grab this water moat, because we will be needing it not only for the puzzle at the end of the run, but it's also going to be really important for one of the fights later on, and will let us save on some resources. Once you get to the bridge, jump to the left, and then take a left at the signpost. Again, once you get sort of practiced at this, you can start popping a potion here in order to get faster movement through here. But for the sake of the tutorial and for the trick that I'm going to show you how to do in a moment here, we are going to not pop it for right now. So we're going to make our way up the hill, and I'm going to show you this trick in full speed. This is kind of like the most notorious glitch of this entire game's speedrun, called a Wedge Fly. And so what a Wedge Fly is basically you use the cloak next to a ledge and then hold back and jump, and it just starts making you hover straight, basically in the direction that you're facing. So I'll show you an example of a Wedge Fly here. These are actually fairly easy to perform, just like that. And we can use that to fly into the wall and get out of bounds. Now, before we actually do the out of bounds movement, I'm going to fall into the water, and that's something you can do too when you want to practice these here. This is also another great spot to make a save if you have the practice tools enabled. You can make one, I suppose, in Illusen's Glade itself, but I wouldn't super recommend it. This spot right here is a really great place to start practicing these ledge flies. So if I were to go in the hack menu, I could just go ahead and make a save right here, but I'm going to spare you that. So what am I doing here? So what I'm doing is sort of either auto-hopping off or kind of slowly teetering towards the edge and then pulling myself back up. Okay? When you do a ledge fly, the angle at which Tor or Roberta starts flying is dependent on a couple of different factors. The two biggest ones are your character's rotation relative to the ledge. So if I rotate to the left or right, rather than be sort of parallel to the ledge, where I'm kind of just angled, aligned perfectly with it, So the sharper my angle away from the ledge, the farther down the ledge fly will send you. So if I do a ledge fly in this direction, it will send me a little bit kind of lower. So you kind of saw that the angle was a bit lower there, but because I was so close to the ledge, it didn't really change all that much. Probably the bigger factor is distance from the ledge. Now, generally speaking, the further away you are from a ledge, the steeper your angle will be, and the closer you are to the ledge, the more horizontal your angle will be. So we do the ledge grab here in order to make sure that we get a horizontal angle. But if I were to back up a bit and perform a ledge fly, I would still get one, but it sends me at that really steep angle, which really isn't helpful, and just kind of puts it back here. So for another example, I can go not quite as far back and kind of at an angle. That one's kind of the same length. Let me give you a better example. Tor, please. Thank you. Something more like this. That'll put you at a not as steep angle. And every ledge kind of handles a bit differently. And it's just something that you sort of kind of start to intuit by learning, like running the game for long enough. But for this setup, it's best to fall off the ledge and then pull yourself back up. And that will guarantee that you're pretty much as far up the ledge as the game will let you be. So even if I like tap the stick, it'll just like immediately throw me over the edge. Okay. And then you want to angle yourself such that Tor is kind of aligned with that edge, right? So he's kind of like parallel with it. You kind of want to face towards like this moss texture that's on the wall. Kind of this like tall moss streak. Just generally in that direction is fine. And so the inputs that you need to do is you need to go into the start menu and hit square to swap into the cloak. And then similar to a mega jump, you're going to hit circle. But instead of all the crazy inputs we did for the mega jump, you're going to hold directly back on the stick and then hold X as it fades to white, okay? So it's going to look something like this. So I go circle, hold back, press X, and hold, okay? It's a very lenient timing. You just want to make sure that you're starting... basically, you can move back on the left stick as soon as you execute the attack with the circle button. But you want to wait on the X button pressed a little bit, because if you press it too early, you won't actually buffer the X press when the game stops lagging, okay? So, pay attention on the controller cam. So you see that I immediately hold down, but I wait a little bit on the X button in order to get the ledge fly, okay? Show you one more time at full speed. So I'm also making use of L2 again. If you are facing, like if Tor is not, his back is not to the camera and you press L2, it'll immediately snap him forward like this. So you can kind of use that and not have to worry about rotating the camera. So I can kind of do it like that. So align Tor, hit square, circle back, X. Okay. That will happen from time to time. That's not exactly something that we have complete control over, but like 98% of the time that doesn't happen, so. There you go. So that'll put us back into here. Sorry, I keep readjusting my controller. And then once you land kind of like in this area, start to head a bit to the right until you see like this big mass right here. And we're going to run along the right side of it here. Okay? Now, if you want to, you can pop a potion of miracle speed here, and I highly recommend it, because it will make this bit faster. But yeah, just generally follow the way that I'm going here. Let me try to get back a little bit. Camera. There we go. Alright, so you're just kind of following along this green grass edge. So stay to the left of this wall on your right, otherwise you'll clip back and bounce, and that's not good. Okay? The camera will act a little weird, so just try to stay as far away from that right wall as you can in order to prevent weird camera hiccups that'll disorient you. So continue along this way, and then you can pass through this wall. So there's the big wall, that's sort of the out-of-bounds barrier. Continue through this bit, and then you should come into this big kind of open area. At this point, once you get to like these leaves over here, these bigger ones on the ground, you can start to make your way off of this platform and onto the floor. Sometimes you'll get caught up on an invisible wall, so just jump and you'll pass over it. Okay? And we're going to continue forward, and so just keep following the direction I'm going. I kind of just am looking for these kind of green grass platforms over here. But we're going to stay towards the left side, okay? And if I hold down L2, as we go to the left side, sort of this rectangle here, it'll put us down on top of it, okay? Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to do an up warp in order to get to the treetops of Illusen's Glade without having to save all of the knights. Okay? So, what we're going to do is, as you walk forward through this wall, you'll notice that there's a bit of collision here. So, what I do is I hold R1 as I, like, pass through this wall. So, I sort of run through the wall, and then I start moving up and to the left. And then as soon as I see Tor get the up warp, I start holding to the right in order to angle him back towards the platform. I'm making it sound kind of scary, but it's really not that bad, and I can show you how to back this up if you mess it up and fall back in bounds. But most of the time, if you screw it up, you'll fall back in bounds anyway, or back out of bounds anyway. All right, so here's what it looks like. So you run forward, and then jump up into the left, and then hold right. And then you'll kind of land up here. So I'll go ahead and fall back out of bounds so I can show you what this looks like again. So I gotta go like over here. So you run through the wall, hold up and to the left, and then jump, and then you hit right. So like that. And then you'll land on this outer edge of this platform. So once you're up here, what you want to do is sort of platform around the sides, and I would recommend letting go of the run button here just to make sure you don't accidentally short yourself in terms of jumping distance, just so that you can make sure you maintain control, because these ledges tend to be a bit thin and you're going to be looking for some ledge grabs in some spots. So we're just going to keep continuing along the way, make sure you get a little bit of a running start, and then you can jump over to this platform here and you're good to go, okay? And then, at this point, this would be a really good place to pop a potion with Mirka speed. What we need to do is so follow the way I'm going. I know I'm running a little fast. But you want to go back towards the start of the treetop section here. So I'm just going to kind of speed by through that for you because this video's already taken too long. And you want to walk up to right here in front of the rope. So the opposite side of this kind of pole thing. You need to walk into this area because it hits a crucial loading trigger to make the final boss, not the final boss, the area boss appear. So you need to make sure that you run over here, otherwise Gnarfas will not spawn. Then we're just going to head back the way we came, and we're going to run our way up to the treetops. There is an advanced strat here where you can do a Wedge Fly to get all the way back up to the boss arena, but it's really risky and pretty tough for beginners, so I'm going to avoid going over it. But if you'd like to try it, or if you're getting further into the game and your experience level and you want to start learning it, let me know and I'd be happy to make a quick video on it. Again, holding down L2 over some of these bumps. Once the potion in the treetops runs out, I generally don't equip a new one. But what I am going to do is equip a Potion of Power as I'm running into the fight. Highly recommend making a save here, especially if you have to practice mods, so that you can practice the Gnarfas fight. And then we're going to go ahead and equip the Supernova Moat. Okay? So certain bosses in this game won't remove moat durability, for lack of a better term, after you hit them. And this boss, Gnarfas, is one of those examples, okay? So what I'm going to do is as I go into the boss arena, I'm going to wait 1,000, 2,000, and then start mashing circle. And if you are kind of, it's kind of luck, I suppose. Monster will yell at me for not explaining it right. But I'm going to start mashing circle after 1,002, so a second and a half. And then we're just going to mash circle button in kind of a rhythm. Not like mash, but like da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, kind of like that, okay? And if this works, it'll like kill the boss really fast, but it's kind of unlikely. All right, 1,002. So, assuming that you missed that, just go for 3-hit combos and try to block his attacks so that he doesn't jump away. All right. So run up in the second part, just run up to him and block his 2 chain swipes. And then you can try again, so you can go for a 3-hit combo, and then kind of go for the stabs, and you see it did a lot of damage there. Sometimes when you do the multi-hit stabs where you just mash circle, it can hit him multiple times in a row. So from this point, you're good to go, right? And that fight can be a little bit random and hard to control, but just do your best. It's not really until you get super into the speedrun of this game that you need to really worry about how you handle your fight. So just do your best, and don't be afraid to use consumables there if you want. Alright, so now, as we go into this cutscene, hit up on the D-pad to bring this up, hold square as you go into this cutscene, and then you want to press X to skip the cutscene. But don't let go of the square button as you go in here. Okay? And that should allow you to skip through the dialogue in this next bit right here. Just like that. Alright, and then we skip through this dialogue right here. And so by doing that fight with Gnarfas, that hits a crucial story flag. So basically when you get that fight taken care of, that's what tells the game, okay, it's time to start Act 1. So now we're going to change some things in the world. And so next time that we enter Meridel Castle, we're going to be able to start do the sequence that leads to the end of Act 1 and the start of Act 2. We're going to stop here, though, and cover that in the next video. So we took care of all of Illusen's here, and in the next video, we're going to show you how to get into Meridel Castle, because we didn't actually unlock the door. So we're going to have to do something kind of cool and different in order to get in there. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. I'll catch you all next in part 4. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up or send me a message or check out our Discord. Alright, see you in the next episode, and thank you so much.